Hi, this is Brian Schulman, founder and CEO of Voice Your Vibe, and you are listening to the Social Media Talks podcast with Alan Hennessy from compassmedia.ie.
Welcome to Social Media Talks podcasts, brought to you by compassmedia.ie.
Hello and thank you for joining me. This is the Social Media Talks podcast, brought to you by compassmedia.ie. Episode number 92. I'm your host, Alan Hennessy, and this is the podcast to help business owners who want to learn more about social media marketing. And if you'd like to listen to any of our previous podcasts, you can log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/podcasts. You can also join our Facebook group by logging on to facebook.com/groups/social media talks. And we're looking forward to today's show. Today I'm going to be joined by Brian Schulman. And Brian has over 21 years of enterprise experience leading organizations and helping clients solve complex business problems to achieve goals with cutting-edge digital marketing solutions. Through extensive needs analysis, along with a consultative sales approach, Brian has helped countless companies across a variety of industries and business models to optimize and enhance their online strategy. He is also the founder and CEO of Voice Your Vibe and a Forbes featured entrepreneur, plus a LinkedIn top live video creator and LinkedIn's top voice in 2018. Plus he is the co-host of LinkedIn Local. And today we're going to be talking to Brian all about LinkedIn live videos. So looking forward to this conversation. So without further ado, I think we will transition straight over to the interview with Brian. Hi Brian, how are you? Thanks for joining us today on the Social Media Talks podcast. It's a pleasure to have your company. How are you today?
Alan, I'm doing fantastic. It's good to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Brilliant stuff. And of course, before we get stuck into our chosen topic today, maybe you might give us a little bit of a brief background on yourself. Not that a lot of people won't know of you at this stage, but it's just for our listeners' point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think just in the very beginning part, I was a pound and a half miracle baby in the 70s. I wasn't supposed to live. I grew up with a neurological disorder called Tourette syndrome, which are uncontrollable tics and twitches. And usually you don't know you're doing them. I've been in digital marketing for over 21 years and building and growing startups. And my company, Voice Your Vibe, really is all about founders and C-suite executives who want to find their voice and show up and don't know how. Teaches you how to find your voice and voice your vibe and attract your drive and how to tell a story that people fall in love with on LinkedIn through video.
Brilliant stuff. And of course, today we're going to be talking about my favorite subject. And I know any of our usual listeners will say, oh, he's off again. I love LinkedIn. It is the platform of choice for me. It always has been and always will be, I think, at the end of the day, because I just find it so intuitive and I just find it so fascinating that you can meet such a diverse amount of people from every walk of life. And I just think it's the B2B network. It's where a lot of businesses are and what they do. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. Of course, today we're going to be talking all about, I suppose, LinkedIn video. And this is a part of LinkedIn that a lot of people, I don't think, use to its full capacity.
Yeah, absolutely true. And I couldn't agree with you more in terms of, it being the place. And obviously for those who can't see us, they can hear us. I've got a LinkedIn hat on, a LinkedIn t-shirt. There's a LinkedIn water bottle behind me. Live and breathe it. I've been on LinkedIn every day for the last 16 years. So it is definitely a place you want to be, right? And just from a numbers perspective, I think that's good for people to understand where LinkedIn is today. So the reality is that you need to be seen, you need to be heard. And there are now 675 million business professionals on LinkedIn, from the founder to the funder to the chairman to the janitor and everybody in between. That's up from 660 million in November of 2019. So they've added 15 million business professionals, human beings, in the last 3 months that have created profiles. Of those, 250 million are quote unquote active users, and there's 1% that is creating content, especially video. So if you don't get the fact that it is the most organic opportunity, the most organic platform on the planet, and there's no better time than now to show up and be present, you know now. You know now.
And you think about that, like, like there's a huge opportunity for anybody, like with regards to using video on LinkedIn, because if there's only 1% of the, of the users that are on LinkedIn that are actually, probably embracing video more so than anything, it's a golden opportunity, because we look at all the other platforms and they are saturated, and I mean saturated with video, because everyone thinks that, we should be doing video on Facebook and that's where we should be. And I go, that's well and good. And I totally agree. Yes, you should be doing video, but I think LinkedIn gives you an opportunity to, approach video in a different manner. And I think that's because it's more business orientated. Like, okay, we need to be human, and that's very true. But I think there's a different type of video.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And it's interesting, right? Because LinkedIn has changed, and having been on the platform every day for 16 years, I've seen it morph, right? I've seen the transition of what's happened. And honestly, even just since video launched, and I was one of the pioneers of LinkedIn video back in mid to late 2017, look, there's no question that video is critical, right? 85% of content consumed online is through video. Videos help build brand awareness. 90% of people use videos to make product or service purchasing decisions. And social videos generate 12 times the shares of text or image-based combined.
Totally agree with you on that one.
Right. So it's not a question of should you be showing up. The thing that is, I think, lost for folks is they don't know how to show up. They don't know what to talk about. They're just not sure, right? Because the predisposition of, oh, this is a digital resume and a place to look for a job. That's what people think of when they think of LinkedIn, right? But it's an engagement platform now. And again, just since video launched, native video launched over the last 2+ years, it broke the LinkedIn mold, right? The suit, if you will, that you were showing up in, the suit speak you were showing up with, is gone. It became human with a heartbeat for the first time. And at that point, 14 years I've been on the platform, that was the first time that it ever felt that way. Like it truly felt that way. And people were talking about fears and failures and really personal parts of their life and their journey, right? And it was inspiring. It was really, really inspiring. And I think it helped so many find a voice that they never knew they had, myself included. And they found that inside of them, something that didn't know it existed, right? Sharing personal stories from their hearts so that people get to know who they are. And if you think about it in business and life, right, that's what it's all about. We don't just walk up to someone and hand them a contract and say, here, sign this contract. They're like, I'm sorry. How about we start over? I'm Alan. What's your name? I'm Brian, right? Building those digital relationships is something that is really hard for people to get. And, being someone myself that's been on the internet since it was green screen and chat room, sitting in my mom's lap, learning how to type, and then on LinkedIn, literally just about since it started a year before, the beauty about this place is that you're one click away from having a conversation, from starting a conversation with anyone and everyone you'd ever want to speak with when it comes to business, because they're all here, right?
Yes, totally.
But the thing is, you also have to remember you're one click away from never having a conversation with anyone if you don't know what you're doing. Because it's easy to burn bridges, if you don't know how to start that conversation.
And I think that is very important, and it's a huge part of social media. And I think that a lot of people overlook as they come on social media and they say, okay, right, I'm here and I'm going to sell and I'm going to have loads of customers and I'm going to get loads of followers and this is going to be great and this is going to change my whole business, and they miss the key fundamental thing with social media, with any interaction that's human, is that we have to build relationships. We have to start talking to each other before we can ever sell, or before we can ever even engage with people. We have to start that conversation. And I think,
right.
And I think, when you speak about like doing the LinkedIn videos, and video is such a powerful platform because it gives you an opportunity for you to be seen and also to be heard. And it shows you up as you say. It's, it's showing up and doing it. And I think I think it's fundamentally important that we always remember that we're in front of the camera. We're just talking to someone who is on the other side of that screen.
That's right. That's exactly right. And it's something that's really easy to forget, right? Because when it comes to video, the only thing missing is you can't touch the person, you can't smell the person. We don't have smell-o-vision yet, right? There's no scratch and sniff on our screens.
Hopefully that doesn't ever happen either.
Right. But if you think about it, right, you actually can touch people because you can touch them with your heart, right? Like all of those emotions, you can emote through the lens, right? You can only use so many caps and emojis, but with video, you have the ability to do that. And I think the other thing that's really important to remember too is that, especially for LinkedIn, you need to find your why. Your why is not, I'm here to do business. Everybody's here to do business. Your why has to be more than that. When I came to LinkedIn 16 years ago, it had nothing to do with business for me. My why was to inspire one person a day. Again, kind of coming from where I had, as I mentioned earlier, just being the pound and a half miracle baby that wasn't supposed to live, growing up with a neurological disorder, being weird and different my whole life, and feeling that way, and not looking at it as a good thing, looking at it as I just wanted to blend in, right? And I realized that I just needed to be me, and by being me, I was inspiring others by sharing my story. So I aspire to inspire you, right? To find your voice on LinkedIn and to share your story, because it's the heart inside of you that people fall in love with. Oh, totally. If you bring your heart in every story that you tell, whether you're an individual or you're a brand, you're a team, you're a business, you tell stories, because it's the stories that we fall in love with. It's the stories that attract and vibe your tribe, so to speak, right? But that's the thing people aren't thinking about. They're thinking, no, I have to show up and talk about business. The reality is that should be 10% of what you talk about when it comes to video, honestly, in anything, but specifically video. And you don't want to start there, right? Because people have to fall in love with you before they're going to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, totally. So it's like I interviewed Adrian McIntyre a couple of last year, and I'll put in the show notes a link to this as well. But Adrian talked about storytelling, and he talked about, storytelling is about me and you. It's about how we connect. It's the stories that connect us is what makes us the people that we are. And
that's right.
And I think that's so true. And I remember when he said that, it was one of those comments or one of those quotes that stuck in my head, and it says, stories are what connect us all together.
That's right. Well, because it's all about relatability, right, Alan? It's all about relatability. I mean, and I do have a degree in psychology, and not that I'm going to get all psychobabble on you guys, but I think the thing to remember is that as human beings, like, we naturally, in every conversation we have, we have our listening ears on, if you will, and we're always looking for those touch points that go, oh, you're a parent? Oh, you're a podcaster? Yeah. Oh, you make videos? Oh, you do that, right? It's like you always look for those common areas of interest. And if you think about the friends in your life, right, that are like family, they're that way because you have so many things in common, right? Well, with video, it's the same thing, especially on LinkedIn. It's about relatability. I mean, I've made almost 550 videos in the last 2 years, and I can count on two hands the number of times I've ever talked about business. And because it wasn't about that for me, right? It was getting comfortable, being comfortable doing something I had never done before, let alone here, right? And it's natural to have all those predispositions in your mind of, oh my gosh, what is my boss going to think? What's my partner going to think? What's my customer going to think, right? What are those prospects who I don't know yet going to think? And I think if you remember that, just like any relationship you start with in business, it starts with a conversation. It doesn't start with business. So if you think of video in that way, where it's a way for you to show up, share you, and start that conversation with each other, and think about the different ways that you can do that on a human to human level, not business, because before the role, the title, the job, the company, we're human beings with a heartbeat first. We all have that in common. Yeah. Right. So that's where the toilet bowl is flushed in the opposite direction, so to speak, because again, the predispositions, and you said it earlier, right? Facebook is friends and family. I go to Instagram to see fake people presenting fake lives. Because a lot of people will do that. Even YouTube in that case, those things are happening too. But LinkedIn, you can't fake it. You get called out. Like if you're not genuine and authentic in you. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a place where you can, because we do take it offline. We do meet in person. We do get on Zoom chats. We do, get together in different ways. And so it can be a challenge. It's interesting, right? Because you'd think, well, why wouldn't I just be me? But the reality is, when you put the phone in front of your face, or you get in front of the camera on your computer, it's not as easy as you think. Like, all those things in your head, right? And I went through all of that because I literally didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even realize there were apps that existed. I was so green. And to think about what's happened in the last couple of years, now being a video marketing expert, one of the, named a 2019 LinkedIn Video Creator of the Year, and someone like Miguel Forbes, who's the chairman of Forbes, calling me a creator that makes the platform what it is. Those are things that are hard for me to comprehend because I didn't get it. Like, I didn't understand, because in my mind in the early days, I was going, well, I'm not showing I'm talking about business. I'm literally getting together with other creators, having a good time, and we're talking and we're sharing experiences, right? But that's what it's about, is it's all about the experience that we share together. Yeah. And that happens through the lens, right? And it's wild because, Alan, like, you'll wind up making videos and you'll get on a video chat or a call with someone and they'll be like, I feel like I've known you for years and we've never even met, right? That's the power of something like video. You think about technology in general,
Yeah, and I think, as you say, I think, when you hear things when you hear like that, you've been credited with this in 2019, the LinkedIn, video, you go, this is incredible. And you're so, as you say, I was saying, my intention was never to actually set out to do that, but yes, I will take the accolade and I'm delighted to take it. But at the same token, the reason why you are who you are and what you've got out of this is because you've been genuine. It's nothing more than that. It's been genuine and having a purpose and knowing, as you said at the start, at the top of the show, it's my one thing was to inspire someone every day. And
that's right.
When you start with that in mind, everything else will follow. But I think you have to be genuine, and I think you have to be real. And I've seen videos where you see these polished videos and they're just so perfect. And that there's after being at least 100 takes of that before. Whereas you get someone else who'll come on and they go, all right, here we go. Obviously, we're going to talk about a few tips for LinkedIn video. So let's sort of maybe delve into that a little bit.
Yeah, we can do that. I want to say something in preface though, and if I saved I have saved many of my outtakes, but if I had saved all of them, I'd have content for 5 years. Like, I did so many takes, especially in the early days. Like, if I think about the first 100 videos, I mean, I did so many takes because I was so uncomfortable. Right. And I didn't know where again, it was all brand new. So I want you to know it's okay. Right. Like, don't feel that if you don't get it done in one take that you're weird. No, it's okay. Like, you can, it's okay to do as many as you feel you need to. But I also would say good and done is better than perfect and not. Like, get vulnerable and get comfortable being uncomfortable and realize that's when you grow and learn. And that's when the magic happens. And that we can feel that, and the authenticity of that too, right? Like, I have a lot of my videos where I'll put outtakes in them. Because I want people to see what I went through to do it, right? And to your point, you see the polished part, right? But the biggest part for me, Alan, is that, and this has all been with purpose, like, I'm holding up my phone right now. I have made every single video from this phone, and almost all of them, I would say maybe 20, I didn't edit on here. I did it on the computer because they were big collaboration videos, which required more intricate editing. So that's why I always say, like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. There's no excuse. Just start. And I say that from my heart because it took me 5 months to muster up the courage and bravery to take the leap and finally do it. So it's just know that it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to feel like you're not brave enough to do it. It's okay to not know what the hell you're doing. And it's okay to know that all you have to do is start, because we all start from the same place, ground zero.
Yeah.
Right. I wrote an article on LinkedIn that actually took you through the journey of the beginning days so that people could see where I started and realized, oh, wow, okay. He didn't just start here. It was the ground zero. So if I know I can do it too, kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
and I did read that article, and I did see all the videos, and it's very interesting, and we'll put a link actually in the show notes to that particular article as well, because it is something for people to read and see. Like you're talking there about the outtakes and stuff like that. I used to do well, I didn't used to do, we have done is an in conversation with myself and another guy, and what we done was we were recording it one day, and we done about 10 videos in the one day because he was in the UK and I'd flown over and whatever. But what happened was we were in the middle of these and we kept making mistakes, and of course we kept laughing at it. So he had everything recorded, and next of all he released a video out onto Facebook and saying, we're after being recording, blah blah blah, whatever it was, and here's some of the outtakes, and it's just me laughing every 2 minutes.
Yes.
And I said to him, I says, that is just so good. But like that, the amount of likes and shares that we got from that, we got, as
Absolutely.
you say, got even more from the other ones than we did, so
of course, because it's relatable, and you laughing is contagious. It's like you're like, oh my gosh, it looks like you were having so much fun, right? And that's the thing too, is have fun doing this. It is a fun process, and don't take yourself so seriously, and realize that again, it's just about showing up.
Yeah.
So we'll get into some tips here. So I'm going to give you all 5 quick tips to becoming one of the world's top LinkedIn video creators. Okay. So you kind of alluded to the first one already, which is show up and be human. It sounds like, why wouldn't you do that anyway, right? But I'm telling you, put the phone in front of your face, hit record and start, and you'll realize it's not as easy as it sounds. But if you keep that in your mind, these tips, you're going to be just fine. So show up and be human. Show up, right? Take the leap, show up and be human. That's tip 1. Tip 2 is engage and support. Understand that LinkedIn is all about the community. It's all about the people. Every social platform is, right? These companies provide us with a playground, and we decide to show up and play. So it's all about the people. It's all about the community. Shine your light bright on others. It is one of the most important things that you can do in terms of supporting and engaging. Okay. Tip 3 is create. Now, there's a lot of different ways to create. Okay. But realize this, however many of you are listening right now, you have a voice, a story that matters, and a voice and a story that could positively impact, affect, and inspire another human being's life. Show up on video. Share stories. We said it before, it's all about relatability, right? Talk about what you're interested in. Talk about what you're excited about. Talk about what you're passionate about. Again, it doesn't have to be business. Go and watch some of my videos. You will see what I'm talking about. I have helped people that literally have gotten on video and they're singing. I have danced with my kids on LinkedIn. Like, again, it's all about bringing people together, right? The other thing that's important when it comes to creating is remembering this: 60 seconds or less is your best friend. You can say a lot in 60 seconds. The reason 60 seconds is this: everyone has 60 seconds. But if you get into a minute, 32 minutes and plus, when people are scrolling through their feed and they're on the go, they're not going to stop. The reason is because they don't know who you are. They have to fall in love with you before they're going to listen to what you have to say. But 60 seconds is easy. So take your phone, put it in front of you, smile first, hit record. The reason is because the very first second of the frame is what is seen when you post a video. Forget editing. If you're just going raw, smile first, hit record. Even if you decide you want to laugh, do that too, because it draws people in. 60 seconds, again, talk about what you can talk about. So that's tip 3 is create. Tip 4 is be consistent. Consistency is key in anything to success. So create a content strategy and a calendar to create a level of consistency that works for you. What works for Alan works for me doesn't mean that's going to work for you, right? And when I talk about a calendar, I mean, think about the calendars you used to hang on the wall or the calendar on your phone, right? Alan has a calendar behind him on the wall. You just basically look at those days and go, okay, these are the days that I want to do A or B or C, okay? Everyone has their own vibes, right? And you create your calendar wrapped around that, okay? So consistency, again, is really key to success, because when you show up and you show up consistently on a basis that's consistent and works for you, right? Your tribe knows when you're going to show up. Think about it. Same bat time, same bat channel. I know I'm dating myself, but if you decide, hey, Wednesday at 6 p.m. is when you're going to post your videos, great. Every week, Wednesday at 6 p.m., you post your video. Now I say post because the reality is you've made it before that. You're not usually making the video and then posting it.
Yeah.
So when you're inspired, create, suck it dry until it's gone, because inspiration does not come all the time. And you feel that inspiration when it happens, right? So Alan could be there and he'd be like he was just saying, you made a bunch of videos because you were with someone, you were inspired in London. Great. You had content that you probably made for 5 weeks if you were doing one video a week, right? Maybe you made 5 videos. So that's how you wind up creating that consistency. You bank those videos. Once you've created them, you're inspired by them. So that's tip 4, be consistent. And tip 5, collaborate. Incredible things happen when we come together. If you again realize nothing about LinkedIn other than the fact that we are in it together, we are better together, and you will see this hashtag LinkedIn fam all over LinkedIn. It is something that a fellow creator of mine and I created a number of years ago, and realized that it is a family. Like, we are people coming together that have these incredible experiences, right? As I shared earlier, best friends are your best friends and some like family because of the time you spend together. Well, that's what we do, right? And the incredible collaborations that happen, not just video, right? People start companies together. They do podcasts. Look at Alan and I, right? Alan joined a live show I was on the other day in the comments. And we started talking in the comments. And he's like, hey, Brian, I'd love to chat. We took it to a DM. Then he's like, hey, I'd love to have you on my show. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to be on your show. And next thing you know, here we are, right? That's the power of social media, of engagement, of then taking it one step further, taking it offline to us getting on a Zoom chat, and then us now on the show together, right? So in recap, again, tip 1, show up and be human. Tip 2, engage and support. Tip 3, create. Tip 4, be consistent. And tip 5, collaborate. Remember that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Simon Sinek said that. And in this digital world that we're living in, guys, you know, if you think about the days of old, and I say that because it's not that long ago, right? You'd hand someone you want to show someone your logo that's on your shirt. Well, that's your smile now. You want to hand someone your business card? Well, that's your personality. And then how you leave people feeling after that experience with you, well, that's now your trademark. So this digital transformation and video, right? Remember that it's not always about what you say. Maya Angelou said that, right? She said, people may forget what you say. They're never going to forget how you make them feel.
Yeah,
it's power video.
And I think it's so important. It's like just them tips alone. Like, and I love this idea, and I've said it many a time is that if you are doing video, because most people think when they have to do a video for social media, they need to do it there and then. They need to go and say, okay, I must do a video now, instead of saying, okay. It's so simple. It's so good that when you are inspired or when you find something. I've often been driving along in the car, or I've been walking, and I'll say, oh, that's a great idea, I must do that, and whatever. And I know, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who will say, oh, I must do that. Yeah. When I get home. Then when you get home, you go, oh, what was that I was trying to think of? And we forget about it. We just, it goes from it. So, and you know that you have a look. I've often been lying in bed and I've actually got up and said, I have to write this down, because if I don't write this down now, I'm not going to remember it in the morning. So
it's so true. You know, it's so true. That's a great thing about having our phones, right? Because I have notes in my phone where I'll jot that stuff down because I'll lose it. I'll totally forget about it. And that's a great example, right? Like what you're talking about is perfect, because a lot of times you'll sit there and go, well, what do I want to talk about? If you just look at life a little bit differently in terms of everything that's revolving around you 365, you'll realize the fact that everything that happens around us is potentially content you can create. And if you're thinking about it that way, when you're on the street in London, or when you're in the car and you're, waiting to go somewhere or whatever it may be, right? Those are also characters in your story, right? Yeah. The environment is a part of your story. So it's good to switch it up, and don't stay stagnant in one place, so to speak. take people with you on the journey, because that's what we love, right? We all think about every movie that you've ever loved. There's the beginning, the middle, and the end, right? And it's usually there's a struggle, and you're cheering for them, and you're hurting for them, and you're cheering them on, and then you're happy, and right. It's the same thing. You're taking people on this journey with you, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it is, and it's just when you're talking there about about your brand and smiles and stuff like that and whatever, and it sparked something, and I just had to go and find it. It's a quote that Ted Rubin said many years ago, and he still does to this day, and it's one that I actually love. Is that a brand is what you do, a reputation is what people remember and share. And I think that's so important, because you are doing that on a daily basis, even as you say, with your smile. It is your greeting card now. It is who you are. And I think that's really, really important to make that consistency as well. That helps. That has to be something that happens, because, if we create one video today and you don't create another one for 6, 8, 10 weeks or whatever, people have forgot about that, and they'll forget about you. So I think it's about showing, as you say, it's showing up, and that consistency is key to social. It's key to everything. Bar social media, it's key to everything that we do is consistency.
Absolutely.
We get
Absolutely.
up, like as I always say, like if you put this into real terms, we get up every morning. So that's consistency. We don't lie in bed every day. There is days when we want to lie in bed, but we still get up. So, I think it's very important. With regards to, like, I know that's video, we're talking about LinkedIn video, and I know some people they might misunderstand what we're talking about here, in the sense that, there is video on LinkedIn, and then there is live video.
So basically there's two types of video, right? There's native video, which is what we've been talking about, right? Where you upload a video. It's not live. You're uploading it, and then it's posting it. Well, then there's what's called LinkedIn Live. Now, just in reference, LinkedIn Video launched in alpha June of 2017, okay? LinkedIn Live launched in beta, I forget February, March, if I recall right, of last year. Now it's currently piloting live video. LinkedIn is currently piloting live video streaming. Think of like Facebook Live, okay? It's different though in how, and I'll explain that. With a few broadcasters, I see a few. There's probably about 250 of us worldwide now in beta, globally. So the feature is not available to all members on all pages. If you want to request access to become a LinkedIn Live broadcaster, we'll put the link in the comments so you can see that. There's an application that you fill out. I want to put a big asterisk on this. Don't be discouraged if your application is denied, because there are a lot of people that are getting denied over and over and over and over again, okay? LinkedIn Live is searched for 50,000 times a month on Google. Okay, like this is a very wanted thing, but I will say this, okay? If your application is denied, I'm going to give you a couple tips in terms of what to do, okay? That will give you a greater opportunity to get accepted into the program. So step number one is go live on other platforms. Show LinkedIn that you're already creating live video content, that you have a show. I suggest live streaming on Facebook, YouTube. Those are good ones. You can use others as well. Step two would be create native video on LinkedIn, like we've been talking about, right? Create and upload native videos. It shows LinkedIn that you know how to create videos. It also helps them understand the type of content that you create, right? Imagine live, with live video, they can't control what's going to happen. This is a way for them to understand the predictability, if you will, right? The type of shows you would have and such, all right? Step three is engage on other LinkedIn live streams, right? Engage with other people's live streams on the platform. It grows your tribe. You'll better understand the feature. But LinkedIn also pays attention to who is showing up. So what happens is when someone goes live on LinkedIn, at the very top, if you're on your phone as an example, or if you're on your desktop, it will pop up at the top of your screen. That's how they notify you. And they do that for everybody. And so you'll know when it happens, and then you can just click on it. You can hop into the stream or the broadcast, and they pay attention to who's engaging.
They
Get
do,
in there and engage.
I would agree totally with that. And I tell you the reason why I engage with I know that is because that only happened yesterday. Because there was, I think Jessica Phillips was on, and they were talking about it, and they were on live on LinkedIn. They were also on the other platforms. But I actually engaged. Because I said it, I just said, "Hi Jessica, how are you?" Blah blah blah, whatever it may be. I gave a small comment, and next of all, I got a notification from LinkedIn saying, "Thanks for your comment on the show." And then obviously Jessica then replied as well. But as you say, they are watching to see who's engaging on the platform with live video.
They are. And again, like I said earlier, right? This place is all about, LinkedIn is all about the people. It's the heart of the people, right? So when you're out there and you're engaging and supporting, right? That's always a good thing. Yeah. Step 4 is don't be discouraged, right? Take action steps 1, 2, and or 3 that I've described, right? And then reapply. If you don't get approved, keep taking the steps and reapply, right? Engage in the posts, support others, let them know you appreciate their content, right? All of those things will help you. Because again, there's questions that they ask you in the application, like, do you have any live shows? Where are you streaming? All that stuff, right? You can then give them links to this stuff. And by the way, when you are streaming on other platforms, do posts on LinkedIn letting people know you're going live on other platforms. It's a little jab, if you will, but at the same time, it's letting them know, oh, yeah, hey, okay. There's nothing wrong with self-promoting yourself, right? It'll take people to where you are going live. And of course, LinkedIn wants you to stay on the platform. So that's a good way to help them understand, hey, I'm live on these shows all the time. I'd love to have this show live here to keep people here, but I don't have access yet. So this is what I'm doing.
And we do it on Twitter. Like we would always do it. Like if I'm doing a Facebook Live, I'll put a note out and say I'm going live at 1:00 this afternoon on Facebook Live, and they'll go and I'll put it on Twitter. But a lot of people, and I don't see a lot of it, is that people actually put it on LinkedIn and say I'll be over on Facebook. Because I think they're of the I suppose the thinking that if I put it on LinkedIn and say I'm over on Facebook, they'll give out and they'll ban me from the thing. And I go, well, look, at the end of the day, you have to try. And if they do, they're not going to just knock you out. They're going to actually come and say to you, you can't be doing that or whatever. You will get warnings on some of the platforms. So, I think it's very important that you let people know. And as you say, if you're live on another stream, they'll say, well, hold on, this guy seems to be doing a lot. Maybe we should give him access so then he stays here where we are. And that's what we want to do,
And they look for variety. They don't want a lot of the same stuff. They want to get variety. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, and I'll bring some metrics back because, again, it just further validates everything we're talking about, right? HubSpot had done a study that found 54% of consumers want to see more video content from brands and businesses that they support. And they went on and they said, well, it's predicted that video will account for 70% of all mobile traffic by 2021, right? That is less than a year away. So if you remember that it's the heart of it all that matters, and personally, I think the growth of video as a part of a brand's heart-centered content marketing strategy will continue to increase. With a concentration on LinkedIn. In 2020, LinkedIn Live will come out of beta, and I predict more and more businesses will find their voices. They will voice their vibe. They will attract their tribe by including live and native video in their marketing strategies on LinkedIn. And so just remember, it doesn't matter what you do in business, okay? If you're an entrepreneur, if you own a business, if you're part of a brand, understand the importance of the fact of showing up, right? If you work for a company and a brand, right? It's not your company. You are an ambassador on behalf of that brand. Every single voice in that company is the biggest and most underutilized asset of that brand. They're the biggest cheerleaders, right? And they all have their own voices and their own vibes and their own tribes. And the more brands that understand that, the power of showing up, the power of empowering your people to find their voice and voice their vibe. And yes, different industries have different restrictions and things like that. But know that there is absolutely a way to show up, and there is power in doing so. And And it's no question. Like, don't question whether you should. Question the fact that you've waited this long and just start.
Yeah. As I always say, it's your secret. Your ambassadors and people that are in your company. They're your secret marketing army, and
That's right.
It's so true. I could sit here and talk about this all day with you today, Brian. It's a fascinating subject, and it's one that's really interesting. I think the biggest takeaway from me here is that I think that I like the idea of the way that LinkedIn are just not giving out the live videos just to everyone and anyone. They're actually watching, so they're being very, very I suppose smart, and they're also being very intelligent as to what type of content that it's going to come out on live on LinkedIn. So that has to be a good thing, and you can see that from a business to business perspective as well with the platform, because that's the way they don't want to, I suppose, change the way the brand is, or change with the brand. I wouldn't say the brand, I'd say the platform has changed. It's predominantly a B2B, and that's a professional network, whereas the other ones are a bit more relaxed. Let's just put it that way, I suppose. So I think, it's good to see that strictness as much as anything else. And I've noticed that over the last 6 to 7 months is the engagement that I'm getting on LinkedIn is 10 times more than what I'm getting on Facebook or the Twitters or the other ones. And I think that's really important to note, and for people to understand that, this is a platform that can be utilized for business and also for getting your brand and getting awareness for that brand. And as you say, to be able to use the system and use the platform in a phenomenal way, just a phenomenal way.
Yeah, it's all about the engagement. The engagement you'll get here, like if you try and equate it, like if you have 5,000 followers on LinkedIn, that's like having 50,000 followers somewhere else, okay? And if your engagement, same thing, you take all the metrics, if you will. I mean, the most important metric above and beyond anything, it's not about the views, it's not about the likes, it's all about the engagement.
Yeah.
Because that's the conversation, right? It all starts with that conversation.
Brilliant.
So
brilliant. Yeah. As I said, I could sit here and talk to you all day about it, but at the end of every podcast, what I usually do is I ask my guests one question that's not related to anything we've been talking about here. And my question to you is, if you had the chance to invite someone to dinner, whether it be past or present, who would it be and why?
Yeah, I love that question. I would say my grandmother. That's my mom's mom. I was very close to her growing up. We would sit and watch old movies and cuddle, and we'd play pool together. We had such an incredible time together, and she was such a special person in my life. And I lost her, younger in my years, in my teens, and so yeah, I would love to have dinner with her.
Brilliant stuff. And of course, you're not the first person to say that they would have a member of the family to, and I think it's true, and it is, and we it is lovely to be able to, it would be lovely to have that. That's all I'd say. It's fantastic. Brian, how can people reach out and get in contact with you if they want to have a chat and talk a little bit more about LinkedIn video?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can absolutely connect with me on LinkedIn. Please, 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 I implore you, send me a personalized invite. Let me know that you heard me on the Social Media Talks with Alan, so that I know who you are, because I have thousands of invites in my inbox at any given time, and most of them have no personal messages. So do that so I don't miss it, please. And then I would say there's two other ways. One is, and these are actually free giveaways, so I think that's what we're going next to kind of wrap things. There's created a LinkedIn Jumpstart course. It is 15 free lessons filled with nuggets to get you newbies to LinkedIn started. You will find the link in the show notes. It's linkedinmasterclass.thinkific.com. And then the other giveaway is, if you have questions about how to all things LinkedIn video for you or your business and or your team, you want to talk video strategy, So you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation with me. Again, we'll have this link in the show notes, but it's calendly.com/voice your vibe. And we can dig into all of that, again, based on different scenarios. And I'm excited to chat with any and all of you.
Brilliant stuff. Brian, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you today on the podcast. There's been I'm going to have to literally go back and listen to all this again, because there's so much information and so many great tips and insights as well. Brian, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and we wish you every success in the future. And we will definitely be having you back on this show again.
Alan, it's been an absolute honor. Thank you so much for having me as a guest. I truly, truly do appreciate you and your listeners. And again, thank you so much.
We should talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Hey, thanks for joining us today on the Social Media Talks podcast. And hopefully you learned some great information and also insights from our guests today. And if you'd like to listen to any of our previous podcasts, you can log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/podcasts. And all of our podcasts are available on all the usual podcast providers. And we would be delighted if you would leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, as we're always thrilled to receive your feedback on any of the programs. You can also subscribe to the podcast there so you never miss an episode as well. And if you'd like the show notes for this episode or for any of the previous episodes, please log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/show notes. And if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, please do get in contact with us. All you have to do is email us at smtalks@compassmedia.ie. And if you'd like to find out more about the services that Compass Media provide, from social media marketing and training to podcast services, please visit our website for more details. You can also reach out and connect with me across all of the social networks, including Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and I will personally answer every one of your requests. That's about all for today. I've been Alan Hennessy from Compass Media for the Social Media Talks podcast, and we look forward to talking to you next week. And as I always say, be social. So until next week at the same time, bye-bye.
Social Media Talks podcast is a production from compassmedia.ie.
The Social Media Talks podcast is sponsored by ContentCal. For more information, visit their website at contentcal.io. We would also like to remind you the Social Media Talks podcast is proudly supported by charityradio.ie.